Hi guys, I'm Sergeant James Clifton of 2120 Whitney Squadron, for those of you that don't know me. Day one of the enforced lockdown during this terrible virus, so as promised I thought I'd start doing some handy hints and tips videos for various items of uniform. So I'm going to be working my way over various videos head to toe with uniform that's issued within the Air Cadet organisation. And just giving you some of my experience in sort of maintaining and getting them into a good sort of standard that I've accrued over the last sort of 20 years. For those of you that don't know me that well, I'm ex-Royal Air Force. Previous to that, I was a cadet myself for a number of years. Joined up in Her Majesty's glorious air traffic control and flight operations field. I left about 7 years ago. I still work with the Air Force at RAF Bryce Norton, but about 10 months ago, my oldest son Jake, decided he wanted to get into Air Cadets, which I obviously positively encouraged. And I thought that was the right time for me to get back involved in the organisation as well. So bear with me, obviously, during this dreadful sort of virus that's going on. We're all in lockdown. I'm in my own house. I'm actually in my bedroom at the minute. You may be able to hear downstairs my kids are actually having their PE session, part of their homeschooling that we're giving them at the minute. So they're with mum doing some Just Dance. I'm a terrible dancer, so I thought I would not embarrass them any further by joining in that session. So just bear with me guys, and we'll take you through in this first video. We're going to start off, as I said, working head to toe, but we're going to start off with headdress, mainly focusing on this, the beret as it's known, but I will cover for other religious groups that we accept obviously within our organisation. I'll cover the standards required for them. We don't at present have any sort of Sikhs, Muslims or any of the Jewish faith at our squadron at present, but I will reference to them the different and alternate types of headdress and the standards that they need to sort of be presented in when they're utilised on our cadet activities. So we'll get started. Right guys, before we get started in sort of getting our beret moulded and put to the right sort of shape of our head, that sort of thing, I need to ensure we've got the right items. So you'll get issued a cap badge, Air Training Corps cap badge, which should also, as you see, come with a pin to affix it into the actual beret itself. Second to that, beret, as I showed you before. This one's straight out the packet. It's a bit small, it's more of a cadet size. It obviously will not fit my massive Swede, but we'll go through the moulding process, and I'll probably use one of my children as a little bit of a model later, just to show you how we fit it to the head, get it in the right size, right position, and then we start to mould it. First step though, with anything, before you mould it or do anything to it, take the pin out of the cap badge, and in the front of the beret you'll see two holes. Okay, make sure you put the cap badge in the right way up. For those of you who have been in the Corps for a while, know the cap badge trick is usually a little prank people play on each other, where they like to turn it upside down and see if you notice. If you fix it in, which I'll do now, you might need to slightly bend the pins, the holes on the back of the cap badge in a little, so that you can match them up to the right width of the beret. So you'll see now the loops on the cap badge are protruding through those two holes on the beret. Take your pin, sort of pinch it together and stick it through those loops. Okay, slide it all the way through. Here's a little tip for you guys. You're always getting cap badged. Splice the ends of the pin open. And bend them round. It's going to make someone think twice about trying to cap badge you, because they've got to bend all them back into place to get it out. Top tip for you, number one. Okay guys, now we've got the cap badge in the right way up. We're sitting there. The next step is we're going to get it to the right head size. So I'm going to go grab one of my children, probably my youngest, going by this beret size, and I'll be back in a sec. Alright guys, I've enlisted Ollie, because Ollie hasn't got a fat Swede. In fact, yeah, that almost looks like a perfect size for him. Ollie's only 8, But you want to join the Air Cadets when you're a bit older, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard about what Jake does, and you sounds
Yeah.
really cool, doesn't it? So we're getting a bit of ahead of the game. You might even have your beret years before you start at this rate. Right, so on your beret, opposite to the front end of the cap badge, you've got like some nice little tied loops already in place. This is just a string that goes through this black band that you can pull to tighten and adjust it to your head size. So I'm just going to undo those loops for the minute. Shy for the camera, aren't you?
Yeah.
And we're going to squeeze it over Ollie's head. Okay, here we go. It's almost like the perfect size for you, Ollie, already. Blimey, that big brain where we've been homeschooling you. Yeah, so we get it over in position where we want it. Okay. So the cap badge goes over the left eye. And then you want the black band going horizontally all the way around the head, about 2.5 centimetres above the eyebrows, which is what we got here. Right, do you want to turn around for me, Ollie, so we can see the back? Fantastic. So you see we've got those loops now that we undid earlier. And that's all, yeah, it's quite horizontal around his head. Happy with that. Really happy you get the beret in a good position where you sit it on your head when you wear it every day before you tie these loops off. Okay. So just a normal knot. And then you've got two options here, guys. Most people tend to just do a double knot and they snip these excess ends off and then they leave it in place. The problem with that is though, that you're stuck to that size for the duration, and as you're growing, young people, your heads might get a little bit bigger, and then that means you haven't got any option to retie it and readjust it again. What you can do is tie it back into that double loop, and then tuck the loop ends into the black leather. Just get like a needle or some sort of sharp blunt edge, and then tuck those in, and then they're tied away. Next step, after we've tied off that that little piece of black cord at the back there, is to start the moulding process. So I've posted the pictures before. There are always instructions inside the beret about how to do this. It advises you to use either cold water or hand warm water. I just always go straight for the hand warm water, fill up the sink, and then you've got to immerse your beret, but concentrating on not getting these black bits wet if you can help it, because eventually if you keep getting it wet, it will dry and crack and it won't look up to standard. It won't prolong the life of the beret. Okay, so we're just going around in here. Appreciate that I'm getting a little bit of water, but I'm not trying not to fully immerse it on those black leather bits. You see there, it's just so you've got enough sort of soaked into that blue material on the top. Okay, then we take it out, let the excess drip off. Okay, next stage will be to fit it to the head and try and mould it into shape. Alright guys, now that we've got our wet beret, we need to fit it to the head, as we're starting to do here with Ollie, in that position that we sort of had before. Okay, we need to get that badge above the left eye. I want the black band about 2.5 centimetres above the eyebrows, which we're looking about right. Headband should be, the black headband should try and be the same sort of level all the way around the head. Okay. I've just realised, like Flight Sergeant Patterson, I'm saying okay a lot. Okay. And then what you do is the material on the right hand side of the beret is the one you drag down over the right ear, and that's this way you start to take the shape of your beret. I'm trying to get it flat. Right here. Right. Look that way, Ollie. It's already starting to take shape. And then turn around to the back. There we go. Looking good. Obviously, the more and more you do this, guys, the more and more and easier it will take shape, and it will hold its shape as well. So this first mould isn't necessarily going to mean it's perfect. It's something you might have to do 2 or 3 times, and then as you're wearing it day-to-day basis, as with anything that you wear material wise, eventually it will take the shape, just being forced into that position every time you put it on. Okay, so face this way now, Ollie. It's weird seeing an 8-year-old wearing one of these. Remember when you became a work experience for me once when I was in the office. You wore my one. I've got a picture of you like that. Yeah, so you see it's already taken shape. So once you've finished your moulding for that particular time, just take it off the head, try and just keep it in shape, guys. And then just sit it down on your windowsill and allow it to dry. And then repeat it again 2 or 3 times. Eventually it will hold that shape and start to take it. 3 points I want to bring up on berets now to sort of explain the moulding process, which I said you'll have to repeat a few times. One is, in the Queen's regulations, this is the Queen's property, we shouldn't deface it. So a lot of people remove this inner black lining just by cutting it out, so that they can sort of get a flatter shape when they do it. You see it's quite rounded at the minute, but that will naturally go into shape the more and more you mould it, the more and more you use it. So there's no need to cut that lining out. In fact, by cutting out that lining, all you're doing is sort of you're not elongating the life of the beret, so to speak. There's less within it to protect it from wear and tear on the inside, so all you're going to do is end up knackering this blue material a lot sooner than you normally would have done. Tips for shaping that I do myself. Now there's nothing to say in regulations you can't do this, and I think it actually helps to mould the beret and makes it look a little bit smarter. This is something I do myself. If you're particularly good with needlecraft, or you know, so well, no, as a cadet you should do all your maintenance, so get good with needlecraft. You'll see this is my beret here, but you see if I try and pull that away, I can't. You see in there, you've got a little stitch. This is where the boss is going to tell me off now. All I've done is a little loop from the inside through to that flap on my beret and pulled it tight so that it always sits down that way naturally. It helps to mould the beret, and it's a lot quicker to put it on. It looks a lot tidier and smarter in my opinion. The next tip I have for you guys, again this is optional, you don't have to do this, but with new berets, if I just grab the one that I was using on Ollie there, you might be able to see it's quite bobbly. You know, it's fresh material straight out the factory, it's wool. It looks quite bobbly, doesn't look quite as smart and as slick as used. What a lot of us tend to do is once we've moulded it, believe it or not, shave it. You may have heard people sort of talking about that before. So don't go using your dad's Mach 3 without his permission. But please obtain adult supervision if you are doing this, or adult permission. But you can just use a razor to lightly go over the surface with a little bit of water. It just takes that excess fluff off and just stops it looking a bit tatty in the first few months of wearing it. So you'll be on inspection, and then when you're constantly pulling it down over your head, you'll be brushing the wall to one side, you'll have a wall hanging off, and then you'll come up and go on your inspection, oh, I've got to mark you down because you've got fluff in your beret. There's a little top tip for you. So just 2 things for wearing your beret. Position, as I mentioned before, the cap badge needs to be directly above the left eye, and this black band that runs all the way around needs to be 2.5 centimeters above your eyebrow. Now I don't expect you to carry a ruler around with you every time you do it. You'll get used to sort of how you feel, but as you can tell, you don't want it down here because you're going to have that front bit over your eye, and you don't want it off the back of your head because it looks scruffy. Looks like a bit of a French Arnold scenario. So yeah, 2.5 centimeters above your head, and that's how we'd be expecting you to wear your beret. Taking it off and putting it away. Now I don't see a lot of people know how to do this at the minute, but it's something you sort of pick up in the forces, I guess. But wearing of it and how to store it when it's not being used. So if you take your beret off your head, what I'll do here, you've got your cap badge, and you've got the slope that comes off the side. If you grab that slope that usually goes down the right hand side of your head by your ear, tuck it in to the inside of the beret, push the black band against it, and then just tuck the material on the other side down. The beret is now folded up quite neatly with the cap badge. Now you can slide that, if you're wearing greens or number 3 dress, you can slide that into the back belt loops on your trousers. That's what I do quite often, back 2 belt loops, get it in there. But I suppose you're at risk then sometimes of it falling out. I've never had that happen to me, but I know you're at risk potentially of falling out and losing your beret. Or you can slide it neatly into your pocket, and it holds its shape. That's the main thing about that, it holds its shape, and it gives you a couple of options to store it. Please don't fold it in half and then stuff it in your pocket, because it really starts putting the shape of that beret out of whack. Well, that's all I've got time for today, guys. Thanks very much for watching this first video. Bear with me, I'm still learning as I go. Stay tuned for some more videos coming soon. Take care.
No Olivers were harmed in the making of this video.